Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the programme tonight, exclusive details of Pratap Bhanu Mehta's resignation letter from Ashoka University, as also details from the letter of Arvind Subramanian, the other outstanding intellectual who has quit. Now, Pratap Bhanu Mehta says that his association with Ashoka is being considered a political liability. This isn't, of course, the first time that this sort of thing is happening. There have been multiple instances in the last several years, notably, when institutions of higher learning have seen overt pressure from the government or from those who reflect the views of the government. That's the allegation. So the question on the program tonight is academic independence being threatened at some of India's leading institutions. Also on the show tonight, the chairman of Maruti joins me as we look at the new vehicle scrappage policy announced in Parliament today. Will India's new car scrappage policy result in cleaner, safer and newer cars on our roads? But on now to exclusive details of the letter of Pratap Bhanu Mehta, one of India's most outstanding intellectuals who's quit from Ashoka University, an up-and-coming university seen to be one of India's finest educational institutions. It's emerged in the last few years as an outstanding centre, for example, of research. So why did Pratap Bhanu Mehta resign from Ashoka University? Well, here's what he said. I quote, "After a meeting with founders, it's become abundantly clear to me that my association with the university may be considered a political liability. My public writing in support of a politics that tries to honor constitutional values of freedom and equal respect for all citizens is perceived to carry risks for the university. It is clear it is time for me to leave Ashoka. A liberal university will need a liberal political and social context to flourish. In light of the prevailing atmosphere, the founders and the administration will require renewed commitment to the values of Ashoka and new courage to secure Ashoka's freedom." Now, after he quit, Arvind Subramanian, the former chief economic advisor to the government of India, who's also a professor at Ashoka, has also quit. Here are a few details of the letter of Arvind Subramanian. He wrote, "Circumstances involving the resignation of Professor Pratap Bhanu Mehta have devastated me. That someone of such integrity and eminence felt compelled to leave is troubling. That even Ashoka, with its private status and backing by private capital, can no longer provide a space for academic expression and freedom is ominously disturbing. The university's commitment to fight for and sustain the Ashoka vision is now open to question. My resignation will take effect from the end of this academic year." Well, joining us now to look at the entire issue of independence of our educational institutions, Professor Amitabh Mattu. Geeta Bhatt joins us, as does Faizan Mustafa, the Vice Chancellor of Nalsar University. Also Professor Chandra Sharma, Professor at IGNOU. Thank you all very much for being with us. Professor Mattu, what does this basically mean when two of India's leading intellectuals say that there is just too much pressure and that they cannot continue to function effectively in an independent or a so-called independent centre for learning? What does it say?
I think it's extremely sad. Both Pratap and Arvind I know well, and I know they're eminent, one a political theorist and an economist. But it really says much more about the founders and promoters of Ashoka. If they don't have the strength of character, the vision to back a university in a country like India faces setback, shocks. I have been Vice Chancellor of a provincial university, taught at JNU for 26 years. They're both public universities. They have had the resilience to overcome these shocks. I went to jail as a student in JNU during Mrs. Gandhi's period. But ultimately, you require the strength of character. You need the academic freedom to be able to fight back. Ashoka, it turns out, was a mirage. At least that's what it seems to be. It's obviously run by people who thought that running a university, a liberal university, as they called it, liberal arts university, is a small thing. No, building a private university anywhere in the world is a huge task. Indeed, apart from the Ivy League universities, nowhere have private universities thrived. Look at England, look at Australia, it's public universities which have thrived most of the time. So I would suggest that Ashoka's founders need to introspect more than Pratap Bhanu Mehta and Arvind Subramaniam, because what is the kind of vision that they had? That they'll succumb to pressure from probably one joint secretary. I cannot believe in this day and age that anyone who's in power in Delhi would really be bothered about writings emerging from a university like Ashoka. If you to control Pratap, then probably ensure that his column in the Express doesn't appear, because that's where I guess most of his writings are these days. Why go after Ashoka? I think it's just them probably second-guessing the powers that be, or someone in the Haryana government putting some pressure on them. I face this all the time as a Vice-Chancellor in Jammu University. You resist pressure. Frankly, the Chancellor of the University of Ashoka, Rudrangshu Mukherjee, who is also a dear friend, and the Vice-Chancellors will resign if they cannot actually stand up to this kind of political pressure. Anyone who's been a Vice-Chancellor in this country knows that every day you have a sitting Vice-Chancellor now. Some MLA, some politician will ring you up with some sufarish, some some talking about someone's job getting done or the other. Yeah. You resist it. You try and strike a balance. That's part of life. That's part of a duty to be a Vice-Chancellor, is to maintain academic standards, maintain the dignity of your faculty, and retain that academic freedom for all the whole community. And that's what your primary responsibility is. If you can't do that, resign.
All right. Dr. Geeta Bhatt, this of course isn't the first time that this is happening in the last couple of years. There have been many more examples. I've got a list of them. But one of them relatively recently at the Indian Institute of Management is when the director of the institute, IIM Ahmedabad, was told to hold off on giving a PhD or granting a PhD to a particular student because a BJP MP had a problem with some aspects of it. They wanted the dissertation to be re-examined because it was stated over there that the BJP was an ethnically constituted party and that the BJP is a pro-Hindu upper caste party. In this case, Errol D'Souza, the director, said, no, nothing doing. That's my business, not yours. But the point I'm making is this is just one example of pressure. Now, how you deal with pressure is another issue. So how would you answer to that this is a government at the center which pressurizes various institutes of higher learning?
Well, Vishnuji, your voice was not very clear. I could only partially hear what you were saying, but I could hear Professor Mattu, and the larger discussion which is actually being put forth here is that why is it in terms of if in a particular university, there are two professors who are leaving the universities and trying to put forth in terms of that there is no academic freedom in the university. You see, per se, if you look at whether it, with respect to Ashoka University, I was looking at it, the number of students there is something nearly around 2,000, and their intake is about 350 each year. And it is considered to be an elite university and an expensive, very expensive university where, very few can afford to actually go. Now, we at present have, 900 plus universities, nearly. No, but
what does that have to do? What does that have to do with what does the expense have to do with the values or the quality of the institution?
No, I am coming to that. It is the quality of an institution per se is not. That's what I am trying to say. Is per se every university in the country has its own set of academicians and intellectuals, including Ashoka University. However, in a university, there are times where in university or in any organization and institution, there are disagreements, there are ego clashes which take place between individuals.
No, but this is not a disagreement per se, Dr. Bhatt. This is not a disagreement per se between the management and these professors. That could have been the reason for them to leave, but the cause is that they have these two intellectuals, that there is pressure, that the quotes over here are absolutely clear from the government a certain atmosphere, which is why they were obliged to leave. So you can say there was a fight with the management, but the reason is something else. I'm asking you about the reason, Dr. Bhat.
You see, Mr. Mehta had also resigned from the National Knowledge Commission way back sometime in 2006-7, where he had his own reservations, as it is reported, which was because of implementation of OBC, OBC reservation in the central universities. We do not know what exactly was the reason, but he did resign at that time also.
No, he's resigned from the Nehru Memorial as well, right?
So, as an individual...
But that was also because of pressure from the government, or a sense that the government was thrusting certain candidates and destroying the nature of an institution.
There are individuals which are important, or the institutions which are important. And when, as Professor Mattu was also saying, the institutions together collectively, those who are part of the institutions, they have to work to see to it that their sanctity and their academic standards, they are conserved. And what exactly has brewed there, because you also talked about Mr. Subramaniam, who has been a chief economic advisor. He has his own share of, he resigned when he was on extension, and then he had his, he questioned...
No, but he's absolutely clear. He says he's aware of the atmosphere which exists.
When he himself was part of the government. So, what exactly is, it's something that, when you want to leave an institution...
All right, okay, Faizan Mustafa, why don't you come in over here? As Vice Chancellor of Nalsar University, do you face this sort of threat? Do you feel that your independence is going to be curtailed because of phone calls that you receive, or officials, somebody from the government saying that, you've got these professors and their views aren't kosher, we don't accept those views? Do you face problems like this?
Vishnu, never. In fact, let me first make a broader statement. In India, higher education sector is over-regulated and grossly underfunded. But between a private university and a government university, let me say it without any fear of contradiction, there is more autonomy to the faculty members in the government sector. We thought that the private universities will have more autonomy.
Why is that the case?
But Professor Mehta's resignation and the way trustees have behaved here clearly show that private sectors won't be able to really stand up to the pressure of the government. But as far as government's own institutions are concerned, let me tell you, my experience is that no government official has ever reached out to us about anything. But definitely, I feel that there may be differences of opinion. Those differences of opinion are to be celebrated. We had in our ancient India great universities of Nalanda and Takshila, and there was an environment of accepting dissent. The creativity in higher education institutions will be there when there is freedom. If you are dictated to do something and you act as subordinates, you can never create knowledge. If we want knowledge creation in India, then universities must have academic freedom.
No, that's stating the obvious. Universities must have academic freedom, but in this case, you've got two leaders of these universities saying that they aren't getting that freedom. Professor Chandra Sharma, the letters over here are absolutely clear. If you look once again at what has been written, after a meeting with its founders, it has become abundantly clear to me that my association with the university may be considered a political liability. My public writing in support of a politics that tries to honor constitutional values of freedom and equal respect for all citizens is perceived to carry risks for the university. Does this not indicate that you've got thinkers in this country who feel that they cannot teach because there is a force out there which tells them not to believe or not to represent the values which they see linked to the constitution? What does that say for us in this country?
Vishnu, my first reaction would be that it is very unfortunate. I would consider Pratap Bhanu Mehta and Arvind Subramaniam as the two greatest minds of this country today, and professors who would create ripples in global arena when they say something. So it is very unfortunate that the two great minds of this country are put into such controversy. Instead of giving them time to do research and speak out the truth, they are put into such a situation. But having said that, I must reiterate what my friend, colleague Amitabh has said, We have been together in JNU. We were together in jail, including Errol D'Souza. We all the three were in jail together when we shouted against the administration during the Indira Gandhi regime, and we were in jail. I think autonomy is our birthright, the institution's birthright, and any encroachment on it should be resisted. And I believe, I have a great hunch, Vishnu, is it a difference of opinion between the administrators, the funders of Ashoka and Pratap Bhanu Mehta? What Amitabh says, I will reiterate that institutions and those who create institutions,
no, but a difference
should be
of
ready
opinion
to
triggered
take
by
the
what?
pressure. Amitabh,
It's not
let
a
me
difference
complete
of
this
opinion
argument.
triggered by his education or what he's teaching. It's a difference
wait
of
a minute.
opinion
I
on the
have-
basis
I
of the
have shared-
university and evidently the link between the university and the government at some level.
No,
Right.
what
Was
I
the
believe
university
is
being
Pratap is
threatened by the
becoming a
government at some
liability
level,
for the
which
university?
made its continuing in the way that they wanted challenging? I think that's the question that needs to be
Well,
Are
asked.
they challenging the?
This
No,
is
no,
not
the
about a
university
fight
is
between
working,
Pratap Bhanu
and that is why
Mehta and the management. That may have been,
No.
that's
No, no,
a
no.
sub-story. The
Vishnu,
issue is
Vishnu,
why.
Vishnu,
So the management,
Chandrabhushan-
instead of taking the
Amitabh,
brunt,
half a second.
instead of taking it with
Professor
Pratap Bhanu, are they
Chandrabhushan
trying to
Sharma.
put the government into dock and say that the government is putting pressure? I have chaired the largest school board, and
Yeah.
I have taken very strong decisions. I have spoken against the policies of government. Look at my track record in the last 5 years, and I was never under pressure from the
All right,
government.
okay.
Instead,
Well,
my
these two,
minister-
these two
Prakash
eminent
Javadekar
intellectuals
always said,
evidently
Vishnu,
were.
fine,
Amitabh,
Vishnu,
go ahead.
You hold a different
Yeah,
Amitabh
what
Mattu,
I'm
go ahead,
saying
yes.
is the simple fact is what Professor Chandrabhushan Sharma pointed out correctly, and what we cannot shy away from is that the management of Ashoka perceives that Pratap's writings on the defending constitutional values somehow undermines their relationship with the government. So these are fly-by-night operators, frankly. They are not really promoters who have decided to go on for the long haul.
What if the existence of a university is
second,
under
Vishnu.
threat?
Vishnu,
Professor
let me
Mattu,
complete
what
it.
if the existence of a university as itself and the thousands of students over there is under threat?
I would suggest that if that happens, then you have a robust public university system. It's happened when I was Vice Chancellor of Jammu University. A college disappeared. We had other public universities accommodate those students. If Ashoka were to disappear, there is a large, robust public sector within the country. But let me tell you one thing. There were 108 B.Ed colleges under Jammu University. All of them pretended to set up highest standards of excellence in teacher education. But they were run by fly-by-night operators. I had assumed that because you have venture capitalists and industrialists, that they have a long-term vision of education and higher education, that you cannot think in terms of profiteering or immediate dividends. It will take generations for Ashoka to meet the standards of even JNU, forget Ivy League or forget Oxbridge. But they seem to want dividends within years.
No, but
That's
what's
not
wrong with
possible.
that? There
It's
have
not
been
possible.
reports which have rated Ashoka very highly, for example,
Yeah,
in terms of
don't-
research, in
Yes,
economics.
but Vishnu, I do not believe that you can create a university in a decade. I do not.
No, but that's not
subscribe to this-
that's a separate point, and I accept your point that it takes a while. But that's not key to what we are arguing about here.
If
or
you are going
debating.
to undermine your academic standards and your academic freedom, and you ask one of your star professors to resign because you think that you will not get land from the Haryana government, then that shows your priorities.
Well, I don't know if that's the
This is
issue
not
or
the
not. That's what you're
government
saying. I mean, I did approach Ashoka, but they didn't agree to come
some
on
of
this
You should
program.
ask Rudrangshu to come on the panel. He's an academic, an outstanding historian, a former journalist.
I did reach out. I did reach out to Ashoka, but that's a separate point.
Vishnu, let me make an argument. Look, read the national education policy. See what the policy commits to the universities, giving autonomy to every institution. 6th of August, the Prime Minister addressed the teachers and said, you have complete freedom to implement it. Go ahead, do it. You have the political will. You have my support. Why would the Prime Minister come and say that? And I don't think, talk to Pratap Bhanu Mehta, is the government directly into picture? No. What I believe is that the university administration, those who have established, are not able to take the pressure.
One second. Dr. Bhatt, let me come back to you. Geeta ji, let's just look at this other quote from Arvind Subramanian. Because I think, this has ended up becoming criticism of the university. It's everybody's prerogative over here. But these two professors seem to indicate that it's something which is a problem with the government. For example, Arvind Subramanian writes that even Ashoka, with its private status and backing by private capital, can no longer provide a space for academic expression, and freedom is ominously disturbing. Right? They are reflecting a larger reality over here. We can say that it's bad of the university, they failed this, that and the other, but what is this ominous, disturbing lack of freedom they are addressing? Is this not something larger?
Well, I think the two, professors, they themselves can actually put forth with a little more clarity what exactly they understand by it. But you see, whenever there is in every university, the head of the university, there is an academic leadership which is there in every university, and it is the academic leadership which has to take all the academicians along with them, while they also take part in a lot of administrative activities. Now, earlier also, Professor Mehta had resigned from the vice chancellorship, where that time he had cited the reasons as being academic, because he was not getting time for pursuing his academic endeavors, which fairly is something which most of the people who are in university system and take up administrative responsibilities do agree to. But now trying to giving a very indirect hint of that, if that their resignation has something to do with some outside pressure, then it is something that the leadership of the university has to look into it.
No, all right, exactly fine. And clearly they've not done that thus far. But you're talking about Pratap Bhanu Mehta and how he's resigned in the past. In the past, he's been quoted as saying, when he quit from Nehru Memorial Library, he wrote, "I do not believe that the candidate the committee has recommended as its #1 choice commands respect among the academic community." He was talking about Shakti Sinha, the IAS bureaucrat, right? And so he's been consistent about the fact that educational institutions need to be independent. The choice, it was argued at that time, was that Mr. Sinha was not an independent academic. He was not picked for the right reasons. And over here he says that his independence is also being questioned, so he wants out. He's consistent with what he's been saying.
And don't forget, Pratap Bhanu Mehta also resigned from the National Knowledge Commission constituted by Manmohan Singh. He is a very, very independent mind, and he acts on his own. He acts on his own and he is very independent. It is always difficult for organizations to contain or to accommodate great minds like Pratap Bhanu Mehta. I believe the institution has to be put in the dock instead of immediately jumping to the conclusion that government is pressurizing.
Professor Faizan Mustafa, it's not just him. There was Mahesh Rangarajan as well, who also resigned from the Nehru Memorial after statements by the culture minister expressing unhappiness at the institution's orientation. So this is what? I mean, ultimately it's back to that same argument, liberals versus non-liberals. Right?
Why hasn't anyone resigned from JNU?
If it's not my perspective, my line of thinking, then you're on the highway.
Why hasn't anyone resigned from JNU?
You have very strong teachers association. In the private university, the management would just say, put in your papers, and you have to put in your papers. So that's how, if it happens in Delhi University, Juta will be up in arms. Or in Aligarh, Abuta will be up in arms against the Vice Chancellor. So I think what Dr. Geeta is saying, there is some merit in it. After all, it is the Vice Chancellor who has to protect his faculty members. Look what is happening to Dr. Audrey Trushke. So much of opposition.
Yes.
But the university administration of Rutgers University is solidly behind her.
Yeah.
Why hasn't anyone resigned from JNU, Vishnu? JNU has academics of every kind. Even today, you have extreme left to extreme right, but no one resigns.
I take your point, Amitabh, about the fact that it's the administration and the running of the university that questions need to be raised on. But there are still no answers on this program, and that's entirely your prerogative on what the complaints raised by Pratap Bhanu Mehta were actually about. The complaints raised by Arvind Subramanian were actually about. Why would two leaders like this, thought leaders, be forced to leave this university? It's not because the disagreement
And
with the
Vishnu,
university is
both
a
of them
side
were
story.
in the good books of the government.
Vishnu,
Both of them
as
were in the good
professors,
books of
as
the government.
teachers, we
Pratap in
require
2013,
the
2014
institution
was
to
the
give us
Prime
that
Minister.
elbow room, to give us that protection. In public institution, the vice chancellors, the administration is ready to do that. I have done it for my staff when I was heading the institution, and similarly, my vice chancellors have done it when I have written in newspapers.
All right.
So
well,
what I believe is private
I think there need to be
institutions are
several
not
more
ready to do
questions
that.
which need to be asked. We are told that Ashoka University has had a town hall with their students. It's disappointing for students who have entered this university on the basis of very competitive scores and an interview process as well, and find themselves where some of the finest minds in this university have decided to quit for reasons which have nothing to do with the
But I would be
academics
delighted if
on
JNU were
campus.
to offer
It's
some of them
unfortunate that
admission.
Pratap is resigning.
I think it's very sad that we need to reflect on that this should happen at any educational institution. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. I'm out of time on this program. We will carry that interview with the chairperson of Maruti at 10 p.m. tonight on a very important policy, the scrappage policy, which has been announced by Nitin Gadkari in the Lok Sabha.